Your body does not burn belly fat when you start trying harder. In fact, for a lot of people, the harder they try, the more defensive their body becomes. That's the part nobody tells you. You cut calories. You force workouts. You skip meals. You walk more, sweat more, worry more. And somehow, the one thing you want gone stays exactly where it is. Right there around your stomach. Not because you're lazy. Not because you lack discipline. But because your body does not treat belly fat like decoration. It treats it like emergency fuel. And until you fix the signal telling your body to protect that fuel, your metabolism will keep acting like a locked vault. That changes everything. Because most people think fat loss is about burning more. Your body thinks it's about surviving more. And those are not the same thing. This is why someone can eat clean, train 5 days a week, count every calorie, and still feel like their stomach refuses to move. This is why you can wake up motivated and go to bed feeling swollen, heavier, defeated, almost betrayed by your own body. You probably felt that. You look in the mirror and think, what am I doing wrong? But the real question is darker than that. What if your body has been doing exactly what it was designed to do? What if the problem is an effort? What if the problem is the message? Because deep under the surface, behind every craving, every energy crash, every late-night hunger wave, every stubborn inch around your waist, your body is reading signals. Signals of safety, signals of stress, signals of famine, signals of chaos. And when those signals feel wrong, your metabolism does something most people never see. It stops cooperating. Not all at once. Quietly, gradually, almost intelligently, like a survival system sealing off its most valuable reserves. And belly fat is often the reserve protects the longest. Here's where this gets personal. You may think you've been fighting fat, but a lot of the time, you've actually been fighting a body that thinks you're under threat. A body that believes food is unstable. Sleep is unstable. Stress is constant. Energy is unreliable. And when the body senses instability, it does not become generous. It becomes protective. That's why your metabolism is not lazy. It's defensive. And the first thing that makes it defensive is one hormone almost everyone has heard of, but very few people truly understand. Insulin. Most people hear that word and think diabetes, blood sugar, maybe carbs. But insulin is more than that. Insulin is a storage signal. It's one of the main chemical messages that tells your body what to do with energy after you eat. Use it now. Store it for later. Or lock the doors and hold on to what you already have. And when insulin stays elevated too often, your body gets a very clear message. Do not access stored fuel. That means your body becomes less willing to tap into fat, especially the fat it sees as strategically important, like belly fat. Because belly fat is not just sitting there doing nothing. It's active. It responds to hormones. It listens to stress. It reacts to your sleep, your meal timing, your nervous system, your movement patterns. So when people say, just eat less and move more, they're describing the outside of the problem, not the inside. Inside, something else may be happening. Picture your fat cells like vaults in a city under emergency protocol. Insulin is a command telling security to keep those vaults shut. And if you keep sending that command all day long, snacking constantly, drinking sugar, spiking blood sugar, eating in a stress state, never giving your system a break, your body stays in storage mode longer than you realize. Even if you're trying to lose weight, even if your intentions are perfect, even if your calories look reasonable, because your body doesn't just respond to math, it responds to conditions. And this is where things get dangerous. A lot of people are not overeating because they're greedy. They're eating in a hormonal environment that keeps making them hungry. They spike blood sugar, crash, crave, snack, spike again, crash again, then blame themselves for lacking willpower. But when your blood sugar swings all day, your brain starts reading instability. And an unstable brain does not think about six-pack abs. It thinks about survival. It thinks we may need backup fuel. Store more, protect more, crave more. This is why some people feel like they're trapped in a cycle that makes no sense. They're trying to lose fat with behaviors that accidentally keep telling the body to hold it. But insulin is only part of the story. The next signal is even more emotional. And for a lot of people, it's the real reason the body refuses to let go. Stress, not just obvious stress, not just trauma or panic or crisis. Low-grade stress, daily stress, silent stress, the kind that blends into normal life until it feels invisible. Too little sleep, too much screen light at night, constant notifications, rushing meals, training while exhausted, caffeine on an empty stomach, working through lunch, thinking all day, scrolling all night, never fully landing, never fully recovering. Your body feels all of that, and it translates that chaos through cortisol. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but that phrase doesn't even capture the full picture. Cortisol is a mobilizer, a signal that says, stay alert, stay ready. Something may be wrong. And in the short term, cortisol is useful. You need it in the morning. You need it when you have to react. You need it to survive real challenges. But when cortisol stays elevated too often or rises at the wrong times, your internal environment begins to change. Sleep gets lighter. Cravings get louder. Insulin control gets worse. Recovery slows down. And the body starts favoring fat storage in the exact place most people hate the most, around the midsection, because abdominal fat is deeply connected to stress chemistry. That's the cruel irony. The more stressed you become about belly fat, the more your biology may act like it needs to keep it. And yes, that's frustrating, almost insulting. But if you understand it, it becomes powerful. Because now the goal is no longer punish the body until it shrinks. Now the goal is change the signals until the body feels safe enough to release. And that is a completely different game. This is why some people exercise intensely and still stall. Sounds healthy, right? Not exactly. Because exercise can help fat loss. But overtraining while under-recovered can also become another stress signal. If you're already sleeping poorly, under-eating protein, living on caffeine, rushing through life, and then smashing your body with intense workouts every day, your metabolism may not interpret that as transformation. It may interpret that as threat. And when threat stacks on threat, the vault stays locked. The body tightens. Water retention rises. Hunger gets weird. Energy becomes unstable. Progress slows. Then you push harder, which often makes it worse. But wait, this doesn't mean exercise is bad. It means context matters more than people think. A calm body burns differently than a panicked body. A recovered body uses fuel differently than an exhausted one. A stable nervous system sends a very different signal than a chaotic one. That's why two people can do the same workout and get completely different outcomes. One body reads challenge. The other reads danger. One adapts. The other defends. And this next part is the real problem. Most people try to force fat loss at the exact time their biology is least ready for it. Late at night, after stress, after poor sleep, after sitting all day, after constant snacking, after mental overload. Then they wonder why cravings hit so hard, why their stomach looks worse by evening, why they can't stop thinking about food. Because nighttime is where hidden damage accumulates. At night, your body is supposed to shift. Insulin is supposed to come down. Cortisol is supposed to ease off. Melatonin is supposed to rise. Your nervous system is supposed to move out of battle mode and into repair. That's when deeper restoration begins. That's when your system starts recalibrating. That's when the body decides whether tomorrow will feel stable or stressful again. But if you eat too late, scroll too late, stimulate yourself too late, stress too late, and sleep too late, that shift gets interrupted. And when that shift gets interrupted over and over again, belly fat becomes less of a food issue and more of a signal issue. You wake up already behind, already inflamed, already craving, already more insulin resistant than you should be. Then the day begins with another common mistake, one that looks harmless, even healthy, a rush morning built on stress chemistry. You wake up and instantly grab your phone. Your brain gets hit with information before sunlight, before movement, before breath, before calm. Then maybe you slam caffeine, maybe no food, maybe sugary food, maybe both. And suddenly your body is flying before it's even awake. Cortisol rises sharply. Blood sugar becomes unstable. Your nervous system starts the day in reaction mode. And once that pattern starts, it often echoes for the next 12 hours. This is why some people feel like their body is working against them by noon. It's not random. It's a chain reaction. And the scary part is how normal it all feels. That's why so many people miss it. They think their body is failing later. But the first domino fell much earlier. So what is this you need to fix before your body will finally burn belly fat? It's not one magic supplement, not one workout, not one food. It's your metabolic safety signal. Your body has to believe it is safe enough to stop storing and start releasing. Safe enough in blood sugar, safe enough in sleep, safe enough in stress, safe enough in recovery, safe enough in rhythm. Because when the body feels chronically unsafe, it defends energy. When it feels safe, it becomes more flexible. That word matters. Flexible. Metabolic flexibility is your body's ability to switch between fuel sources smoothly. To use food when food is present. To use stored fuel when food is not. To shift without panic. To adapt without overreacting. A flexible metabolism is not constantly screaming for sugar. It is not crashing every few hours. It is not clinging to emergency reserves because the environment feels chaotic. And the good news is this can be rebuilt, not overnight, but faster than most people think, and not through punishment, through signals. Here's what that actually looks like. First, stop flooding your day with constant eating. Your body needs windows of lower insulin if you want it to become better at accessing stored energy. That doesn't mean starving yourself. It means creating structure. Meals that satisfy, fewer random snacks, less grazing, more metabolic breathing room. If you're hungry every 90 minutes, that's not always a sign your body needs more fuel. Sometimes it's a sign your system has forgotten how to switch fuels efficiently, and that can be trained back. Second, stabilize your meals. When you build meals around protein, fiber, whole foods, and slower digesting carbs instead of ultra-processed spikes, your blood sugar becomes calmer. And when blood sugar becomes calmer, cravings stop feeling like emergencies. That alone changes behavior more than people realize. Because most bad eating decisions don't happen when you feel strong. They happen when your physiology corners you. Third, move in ways that teach the body to trust energy again. Walking is powerful here, not because it magically melts fat the second you start. That's another myth. Walking works because it improves insulin sensitivity, lowers stress load, helps glucose disposal, and sends a calmer signal than frantic cardio done in a panic. Especially after meals, especially consistently, especially when paired with better sleep and food structure. Sometimes the most effective fat loss movement does not look dramatic. It looks boring, and that's exactly why people underestimate it. But boring, repeated, biologically aligned habits are often what unlock dramatic change. Fourth, protect your mornings. Before caffeine, before chaos. Give your body a cleaner opening signal. Light in your eyes, movement in your muscles. A little space before the digital world hits your brain. You do not need a perfect ritual. You need a morning that doesn't start with panic, because the beginning of the day teaches your hormones how to behave for the rest of it. Fifth, respect sleep like it's par fat loss, because it is. Poor sleep does not just make you tired. It changes hunger hormones, worsens insulin control, raises cravings, increases emotional eating, reduces recovery, and makes the body more likely to hold on to belly fat like backup fuel. One bad night won't ruin you, but chronic poor sleep quietly rewires the system. And once that happens, effort starts feeling less effective. That's when people begin to think they're broken. They're not. They're under-recovered. That's different. 6. Stop making every health decision from self-hate. That one goes deeper than nutrition. Because if every choice is driven by panic, disgust, urgency, or shame, your body feels that too. You might not call it stress. Your nervous system does. You can eat a healthy meal in a rushed, guilty, fearful state and still reinforce the feeling that your body is in a fight. This doesn't mean you need to be spiritually enlightened before you can lose fat. It means your biology listens to your lifestyle more honestly than your intentions. The body responds to patterns, not promises. And if your pattern says, I am under pressure all day, under-recovered all night, underfed at random times, overstimulated constantly, and emotionally at war with myself, then belly fat can become part of the defense. Not because your body hates you, because it thinks it's helping you. That's the twist. The thing you've been angry at may have been trying to protect you. Clumsily, outdated maybe, frustratingly, yes, but protect you. And once you understand that, your entire approach changes. You stop asking, how do I force this off me? You start asking, what signal do I need to change so my body stops guarding it? That question is smarter, calmer, more effective. So if you want a realistic protocol, here it is. Eat at consistent times instead of constantly picking at food. Center meals around protein and real food that keeps blood sugar steadier. Walk daily, especially after meals, and stop treating only extreme exercise like it counts. Get morning light early. Delay chaos. Use caffeine more carefully. Finish your last big meal earlier when possible. Create a darker, quieter runway into sleep. Train hard enough to improve, but not so recklessly that your body feels hunted. And most of all, repeat those signals long enough for the vault to realize the emergency is over. Because this is not about tricking your body. It's about retraining it. Slowly, clearly, consistently. There may not be one dramatic day when you feel your metabolism switch on. It's usually quieter than that. Your cravings begin to ease. Your energy becomes steadier. Your sleep gets deeper. Your stomach feels less inflamed. Your mornings feel less heavy. Your body starts letting go a little easier. Then one day you realize something important. The fight feels different now. Less violent. Less desperate. More cooperative. And that may be the biggest transformation of all. Not just losing fat, but losing the feeling that your body is your enemy. Because it never really was. It was following instructions. Bad instructions. Maybe stress instructions. Chaos instructions. Survival instructions. But instructions all the same. And now you get to change them. That is the real unlock. Your body doesn't need more punishment. It needs better signals. It doesn't need to be hated into healing. It needs to feel safe enough to stop defending itself. So if your belly fat has been stubborn, if progress has felt unfair, if your motivation keeps crashing into the same invisible wall, hear this clearly. You are not broken. Your metabolism is not cursed. Your body is not lazy. Your body is listening. And once you change what it keeps hearing, it can change what it keeps doing. The vault opens when the emergency ends. And for a lot of people, that emergency was never food alone. It was the entire environment. Fix that, and fat loss stops feeling like a war. Follow Burn Lab YT for real fat loss science.